Hi, my name is Agnes Eriksson, and this is my submission for AI for Games. I will be using Gibbs' reflective cycle to structure this reflection. Description and feelings. The brief was to create a portfolio piece demonstrating AI techniques. You could choose between a boss battle or an autonomous environment. In the first few weeks of development, progress was slow. I focused on setting up a basic white box for the environment scene, modeling a hedge asset and using mazegenerator.net to create an outline for a maze, manually placing each hedge, which turned out to be a very arduous task. I then implemented a simple first-person player and drew from Sebastian Laig's A-star pathfinding tutorial to implement simple 2D pathfinding. Realizing that the environment was rather dull at this stage, I implemented a custom skybox that I made with this really cool software called Spacescapes. I implemented animated voids from the provided lab, but added alignment and changed the shadows of the voids to be softer and spherical. After implementing a terrain map, my 2D pathfinding was inadequate, so I attempted to implement pathfinding in 3D. The pathfinding worked and uses raycast to adapt to the terrain, but was pathfinding strangely. After endless amounts of frustration, I reached out to my lecturer and was shown that my get direction method was incorrectly implemented. Fixing this fixed the behavior. At this stage, I had one agent that endlessly pathfound to and followed the player. But I wanted to implement some more intelligent behaviors, so I looked into implementing a utilities-based agent that autonomously sought out water, food, and safety based on its needs. The food and water sources are stored in an array and chosen based on proximity. This created really repetitive behavior, as the agent would usually just move between two sources. To fix this, I changed how the agent decided what source to go to be random. At the same time, the code was getting quite muddled, so I decided to transition my utility agent into utilizing an FSM, creating defined states and transitioning between these states. Now I had a somewhat intelligent agent that severely outshined my original pathfinding agent, so I decided it was time to implement a behavior tree. I wanted to do this visually, so followed the Kiwi coder's extensive tutorial. This was a painstaking, laborious process that took much longer than I had expected it to, going into great detail in Unity's UI toolkit. However, by some small miracle, I got the behavior tree functioning and even implemented two custom nodes, one which waited for the player to be in range and one that followed the player. The agent makes use of sensors to determine if the player is within the range. The behavior tree loops and creates what I feel is some quite cat-like behavior. Analysis and evaluation. Through this experience, I have learned a lot, not only about AI behaviors and implementations, but I feel as though my base coding knowledge has also improved. I, for example, discovered my new favorite syntax, this shorthand for if-else. At the start, I didn't use project planning nearly as effectively as I should have, and it was only at the milestone in week 9 that I truly utilized it to its full potential. I made checklists for each section I was working on and broke each one into small quantifiable pieces. Like in my behavior tree agent, make functional nodes, connect to behavior tree editor, baseline functionality, basic scripting. This really helped with motivation and structuring my workflow. Ironically, in my stress of getting things done in time, I learned that taking breaks where you completely remove yourself from the situation are imperative. Conclusion. In a world where I had managed my time and planning more efficiently, I could have implemented more complex behaviors, like more complex steering behaviors from the simple obstacle avoidance I have, or even hierarchical state machines. I do believe this task has provided a good artifact for my portfolio and has provided me with new insights into tools and techniques that I can further adapt upon and improve. If this task was set to me again, I would make use of more efficient detailed project planning from the start, highlighting a week by week structure and sticking to it. I would also put base functionality above any aesthetic appearances. This would allow for a highly technical and robust product. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed.